Today we're going to have a quick video on how to set up multicasts for Airprint between two separate networks. In a traditional network, if your wireless and your hardwired devices are all on the same network, if you're trying to use Airprint from an iPad or an Apple device, it'll typically just work. However, if you have your wireless users on a different network or different VLAN than your hardwired printers, it usually won't work out of the box. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set up a quick multicast policy to allow Airprint between two separate networks, right? So the networks that we're going to allow it over right now are the hardwired LAN. So it's going to be my hardwired printer that I have. And then the corporate Wi-Fi is going to be, in this example, the network that my iPads are connecting to on Wi-Fi. So one thing that you have to make sure is enabled before you do anything is you have to make sure that multicast policy GUI configuration is enabled in your system settings. So in order to do that, you would go to System and then Feature Visibility right here. And then you want to make sure that this multicast policy is toggled, right? That's going to allow us to see it in the GUI. So as long as that's done, if it's not, go ahead and toggle it on and then click OK here at the bottom of the page, apply here at the bottom of the page, and then you should be able to see it. So then next we're going to go to Policy and Objects, and we're going to go to Multicast Policy. And unless you've configured anything here, you shouldn't see anything, but we're going to go ahead and create new. And we're going to call this, you can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it Airprint 1. And then incoming interface, we're going to do the hardwired LAN, and then outgoing, we're going to select our corp Wi-Fi. Now, I do zones for all my networks, but if you need to select the individual network, if you don't do zones, then you can go ahead and just select the actual VLAN or network or port, however you do it. And then for source address, just for the sake of this, I'm just going to go ahead and select all. And then for destination address, you want to select Bonjour, EIGRP, and OSPF. And then for protocol, you want to select UDP. And we're only allowing Airprint. We're not just going to allow multicast, allow it to go crazy on the network. We're just going to allow Airprint. So for that, the UDP port for Airprint is 5353. And then you can choose whether you want to log, all sessions or not. I'm just going to leave it as security events for now. So go ahead and click OK. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to create another one for the opposite way. So we're going to call this one Airprint 2. And then for incoming interface, we're going to do corp Wi-Fi and then hardwired LAN. So we're just doing the reverse. Source address, we're going to do all. Helps if I can click it. And then we're going to do these three guys, same ones as did before. And then we're going to select protocol, UDP, 53, 53, 53, 53. And we're going to leave all this the same, make sure it's enabled, and click OK. At this point, the multicast should work. However, that is assuming that you already have a firewall policy in place before those two networks can communicate. So this policy just allows the multicast between the networks, but you also need to make sure that you have a firewall, like a regular firewall policy, so that these networks can talk. So let's just go ahead and do that now. So we're going to go ahead and create a new. And we're going to just call this Airprint allow. And we're going to do hardwire, corp Wi-Fi. And you could log it down to specific addresses if you want. I'm not going to do that here. And then you could also lock it down to specific services for the sake of this and just going quickly. I'm going to go with that and then go ahead and enable this guy. All right. So now that we have that guy allowed, we're just going to right click on this and we're going to create a reverse policy. And I have it enabled to where you have to put notes when you make configuration changes, part of the workflow management on the firewall. All right, so it looks like this guy was not enabled. So let's go ahead and enable that. Boom, of course. All right, so we have our Wi-Fi to hardwired LAN, and then we have our hardwired LAN to Wi-Fi. So that traffic should be allowed at the firewall policy level, and it should be allowed at the multicast policy level. So at this point, if you connect to your separate Wi-Fi network on your iPad, you should see those printers, if they are Airprint printers, pop up in the list of printers to select. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.